It's like you get on my nerves. Like,
yeah. And you.
Huh?
I don't know if I should say that.
What?
You know why you acting up?
What? No.
You know, to a certain extent.
No.
So
he knows why he be acting up. Shh, be quiet.
Welcome to the PowerTrip Podcast. We're your hosts,
Charmaine
and Saquon.
Welcome back. What's
up, people? What's
hey,
up?
guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. It's been a crazy few weeks for us.
It has.
It definitely has.
The wedding things have been
changed
a roller coaster.
So much. We'll probably do a whole podcast on what's going on with the wedding.
That'll be, yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that then.
Full of great ideas, baby.
All right. But this podcast, today we'll be talking about communication.
Yeah.
The benefits of communication. The downfalls, and I guess we'll be giving
some personal personal feedback.
Yeah, so
baby, whew, we've grown.
Yeah, we have. We've come a long way.
Yes,
nobody's perfect, you know. Nobody's
That's
perfect.
What people be saying when they know they're not, when they be messing up our stuff.
I guess.
Like, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, you out there acting a fool. And that's what you come back with. Nobody's perfect. We're growing.
Yeah. But anyway, let's jump right into it.
Okay.
Because obviously I watch some shows that you guys want us to jump into it. Why is communicating important?
Communication is literally everything.
It is. Communication is key.
Key to everything. Whether it's a friendship or a partnership or relationship with your coworkers, anything. And then it's crazy because it's like when we say communication, that's such a broad term because communication can be body language. It can be the words that you say. It can be how you say certain things.
True.
So communication is very important, especially like we'll talk about like a relationship with us because it's like we're two people who come from two totally different backgrounds as far as like how we were raised. And communication styles are different, but it's like we want to be together for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So in order for us to do that and do that successfully and peacefully and happily, we have to be able to communicate well with each other.
Exactly. And like she said, to do it peacefully and happily, I mean, you have to have an understanding.
Right.
And you have to be able to communicate to get that understanding. If I don't understand, I have to be able to.
You looking real handsome.
Thank you. But on my end, though, if I don't understand something that's going on, I have to be able to talk. I have to be able to verbalize exactly how I feel or the fact that I don't understand what's going on your end.
Right, because so you can be communicating something to someone, and like you said, if he doesn't understand or misinterprets what I'm saying, then he could be offended, making assumptions, even though that wasn't my intent behind whatever I said.
Exactly.
So I think communication is something that we all need to work on and be better on because, like, what you were just saying is like you verbally saying something, but then there's sometimes where people don't communicate. So then they leave you definitely to assume like, okay,
exactly
what's going on with them. And then you make a story in your own head. So communication can resolve so many issues, especially in a relationship. It can resolve so many issues if you're just open and honest. But I think for that to happen, you have to feel safe being able to talk to, your significant other, boss, whoever it is. You have to feel like, okay, if I tell them this, because sometimes when you communicate, it's like you're being vulnerable.
Yes.
You're telling somebody something. So when you tell that person that, you don't want to feel attacked. And it's natural, like especially if you're telling somebody something that they're doing that's bothering you or that you feel is like could be changed.
Yeah.
The other person can take that and be like, okay, they're trying to attack me, and it's natural for us to want to go into defensive mode.
Yeah, so another thing in communication is you have to be a good receiver too.
Yes,
you know,
that's part of communication. That's huge. That's true. That's a good point.
Because
and baby, your girl could be ready for some defense.
Yeah. I can.
He can be defensive too.
I can be defensive, right? I think it takes longer for me to be defensive though than you. You can get defensive off the wrong word.
Yes, I'm very big on like terminology.
Yeah.
So Saquon, for one, okay, and this is one thing too. I think it's very important to know how your partner communicates.
That's huge.
Saquon, let me tell y'all, when this man will tell you a story, he is going to tell you the weather that day, how the sun was shining, how many clouds were in the sky, who was around. Like, he is going to set up the scene. Like, you're going to feel like you're sitting in the story with him. And sometimes I'm just like, can you get to the point? Like, he'll start and you'll be like, yeah, that reminds me of when this happened. And then, but when he starts the story, it's like, yeah, so it was Thursday the 5th, and it was around 7 p.m.-ish and it was cloudy. And I'm like, honey, come on. Because that's me, though. I'm like straight to the point. Like, I get to the facts. Like, this is what happened, but I want details. Like, I do want details, but not those type of details. Like, I want details, like, give me more of what was said or what happened. He's more of like, and he has such a great memory. Like, his memory is on point.
I tell all the details. The thing about it is, I think you like questioning just as much as I do, right? But I question because I don't understand. You question just for answers.
For more information.
Yeah.
But, okay, and so that's another thing where we say, like, I guess tone or how you say things play an important role.
That's huge.
Because when he questions me, and this is where he'll say, like, I may get defensive quicker, is because I feel like sometimes his questions aren't from a place of not understanding or not knowing or just wanting to know more. I feel like it's you're questioning me because you don't think what I'm saying is accurate. So you're questioning me so you can come back and then say what you think is actually accurate.
Yeah. So what she'll do is she'll feel like she'll get defensive if she says, yeah, babe, today I ate some pickles and yogurt. If I say pickles and yogurt, like that for her,
he'll be like, you ate pickles and yogurt together? And I'm like, okay, yeah, and what? And they were great.
Yeah. So
I know I would never eat that together. But
yeah, it was just an example. Right. But just to
use an example.
Yeah, it'll rock your attitude for a little bit, and I'll be like, okay.
It's because it's like you coming at me. Like, don't come at me. Like, if you're curious, because just how he said, pickles and yogurt. Like, does that seem like someone who's truly curious? No, you're not curious. Be like, oh, you ate that all in one sitting?
I'm curious. I'm like, you really did that?
No, but it's a judgmental curious. And that's how his questioning's becoming.
No, it's like for real. Like,
sometimes.
You really did that? Like, because to a certain extent, like you said, people, she would never do it. So it's like, if you've seen someone do something that you would never do, you're kind of like, oh, okay.
He be judgy. He's judgmental. He can be we both can be judgmental.
That's like if your friend tell you they doing something that you ain't know they do, you like, oh, you like that?
Get closer. Yeah. Oh, well, you can hear yourself. So
yeah, I can hear myself.
Okay. But yeah. So, I mean, yeah. So it's all of... Needless to say, communication is very important because of all those things. So your tone matters. How you say things matter.
Yeah. Being
able to... And that's another thing. Sometimes it's hard to express what you're actually trying to say. Like, I'm not great at expressing my emotions because I'm the type of person who I don't go to anybody for help. Like, I just handle my business. I'm the one people come to kind of vent, tell me things. But I'm not great at expressing how I feel. So with him, it's like I had to learn to do that. And like, yeah, it was a journey.
So, yeah, it was a journey, but I had to learn how to express my feelings better. Mm-hmm. I'm not scared to express my feelings. I'm gonna just tell you what it is. Like if I actually feel a certain type of way and it's strong enough and it actually affects me enough, you just gonna have to hear it. But in the beginning, I had a shorter temper, I think.
Yeah. So another thing with knowing your partner, he is super passionate. Yeah. So, and so it can be something that's super small in my head. Like, oh, good example. So we told y'all we went to couples counseling and stuff, premarital counseling. So this is something we brought up there. And like some things just seem so small to me because it was like, so his old computer, or no, I think he might still have the computer, but it was just the charger that where if you don't plug it in right when it says it's going to die, it's going to die right away. Yeah. And he was working on schoolwork and like he'll have projects that he's doing and it won't save if his computer dies on him.
But we both noticed.
Don't be trying to throw in your stuff. So, okay. So I'm very big. Like before we moved in together, I would unplug everything. Yeah. Like if I'm leaving the house or before the end of the night, I'm saving my electricity. So living together, and by this time we were living together over 3 years, but yeah. I'm still the same way. I'm like, okay, well, we don't just need to leave things plugged in. And so one day I unplugged his computer and he was working on it. And of course it died on him and he lost his whatever work. So he got so upset with me. And the thing was, it was like, I'm like, okay, I understand you're frustrated, but I also told you I'm not leaving things plugged in. So it was like, in that situation, he was passionate. Like, we talked about this. I just said, blah, 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 blah. And so through counseling, though, it was gaining that understanding that frustration wasn't necessarily me unplugging his computer. Like, yeah, he was upset about it, but his frustration was his computer died and he lost his project, whatever he was working on. So because though he's passionate, then that's where my defense comes. Because you ain't finna get loud with me because I'm saving us electricity. Okay, I'm helping us. Okay.
And the only reason why I'm passionate at this point, and I guess loud, is because like for me.
We had the discussion already.
Yeah, we had the discussion. Mm-hmm. What really will turn myself up a notch, what will really put my volume up, is repeating myself.
Yeah. And he always feels like he's repeating himself. Which in reality, it's like, no. Just because you said something, we didn't come to an agreement. We didn't say, okay, I'll just leave that plugged in over there. No, we didn't come to that agreement. So don't assume because you brought it up that I'm just following suit. So that's another thing is making sure when you do have conversations that you know where you stand, like you're on the same page at the end of that conversation, especially if it's something like in this case where it was a save or not save matter. Yeah.
And I mean, one of our questions in the notes was what happens from bad communication, and that happens. I mean,
arguments.
Yeah. Arguments happen.
People feeling unheard.
Yeah, people crossing boundaries that that you didn't verbalize,
Right, yeah. Because there's some things too that, I used to tell him, I'm like, choose your battles. Like, not everything do you have to go to 100 for. And I would tell him, like, there's certain things that I just let go because it's not worth the argument. But then let's say like he keeps doing those things over and over and then I just blow up at him. He's like, well, I didn't know because you didn't say anything. So it's like now you're crossing a boundary that you didn't even know was a boundary for me. Yeah. Yeah. So there's, so many things can go wrong when you don't communicate. You can lose, it's just like you can really feel not heard, not understood, not valued. You can feel like, go ahead.
You'll feel hurt in the end.
Pretty much. And both parties will end up being hurt in the end because it's like your relationship. So if one's not, happy, that's going to affect the balance of your relationship.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is
so,
true.
yeah, guys, communication, I'm telling you, effective communication. Because there's bad communication out there. You can communicate and it not be positive.
Do you think we cover all our downfalls of communication?
Our downfalls? So I'll say some other things that things that we really struggle with are so we'll have a disagreement, right? Mm-hmm. And then, you know how sometimes you don't stay on topic and you just start going off? Like he said, I'm big on terminology. Oh. So let him say the wrong, like a word that I'm like, no. Then we're arguing about the word.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we're spending 20 minutes arguing about this insignificant thing. And then it's like, we still haven't addressed what the real true issue is. So I'll say that's a downfall. And then another thing that we're working on and we struggle with is that when we remember things different. we remember things differently. So I'll be like, babe, no, you said X, Y, and Z. And he'll be like, no, I said this. And I'm like, no, you didn't.
Why you give me that type of voice?
Because that's how you sound. So then I'm like, nah, like, you did say that. And then it becomes an argument on what was actually said.
Yeah, that's
so then
true.
It's like that. I feel like those are things that, in hindsight, should we really be arguing about that? Does it matter? Like, we both perceive, and it could be that that's how I perceived it, or that's how you intended to say it, and they just were mismatched.
Yeah.
So then that's why, with effective communication, they say you should always summarize what your partner is saying so that you make sure that you're on the same page before you move forward.
Yeah, and you'll know, because let's say one of the downfalls in our communication is if she repeats it, she'll throw a shot in there. Like,
wait, whoa, what you mean?
Like terminology. You'll use a certain type of terminology to try to reiterate what was said back to show that you understand, but you'll throw like daggers in there. You'll use certain derogatory words. Petty. Yeah, you'll be petty with the words, so you'll know if they over or just understand or feel some type of compassion.
That's another thing, especially okay, so I've gotten so much better though. Listen, I really have, because there was a point in time where it was like he would tell me something, but if I'm already in defense mode, I don't care. Like, I'm looking at you like, okay, and you said this, so you mad about that? But it's like, even though it's small to me, mm-hmm. it bothers him. I can't, like, it may be small to me, but it bothers you, so that has to be important to me.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think that was a trade-off, because I think I was like that in the beginning.
Yes, he was cold-blooded.
Yeah,
and I picked up those certain things from him. Yeah, because in the beginning, so that was something in the beginning. Oh, yeah, we gotta tell our stories. So, in the beginning of our relationship.
No, isn't that another?
Is that? No.
When we first met and stuff?
No. I'm just talking about our communication in the beginning.
Okay.
In the beginning, we would have a disagreement. It really wasn't, I didn't know his crazy side yet. So, I didn't know his passionate side yet. So, we would have a conversation and, disagree or whatever. And then we wouldn't talk for a little bit. But then he just comes back talking like we best friends again. And I'm like, wait, bruh, we never discussed the issue at hand.
No,
I was just giving us a little break.
Yeah, she would give us a break. But then I'll be talking to you, you'll be talking right along with me. And then figure out, at some point in the conversation that she want to stop it. And then bring up, oh, wait, we never discussed
we're not
the problem.
Cool. We're not cool yet.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is, I always looked at it like, I understand that we're not cool, but it's either we going to be real upset and passionate while we discussing this, or we could wait until we actually somewhat happy, and calm to discuss it later.
Yeah, but I feel like I can't be, now I feel like I know, I guess my mindset has changed. As you grow and mature and you become more wise, you just change. So now my mindset is it's not worth staying so angry when I know I love this person. I'm going to be with this person forever. So why spend most of our time being angry?
Yeah, and I don't even do that anymore either.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Back then, my mindset was, we're not cool until you resolve this issue. So, cute that you want to come over here, jokey. No, I'm not laughing. We need to discuss this.
Yeah.
But yeah. I was going to tell them about when you kicked me out, when you told me I could leave.
Oh, yeah, that... Boy.
So
would you say that deal with communication or what?
No, we'll save that for another story, but it's a good one, but we'll save it for another time.
We make it just a small video for that.
Story time.
Yeah,
we'll do a story time. Yeah.
All right, cool.
But yeah, so I would say those were our downfalls back then, and then some of our downfalls that we still are working through.
Yeah, man, we went over a lot. Okay. All right, how does being angry affect you?
Being angry clouds your judgment. Mm-hmm. Like being angry, when you're angry, you're not necessarily always thinking logical.
Nah.
Like you're just, because you're going off of emotion versus logic. And so, especially like if you're angry in either the offensive mode or a defensive mode, and most times it's defensive, it's like your goal is, I'm trying to defend my honor. Like you're attacking me and now I got to defend myself. And then add anger on top of that and emotion, I'm going for blood. I'm going for it all. Yeah. And so I feel like being angry, it's definitely something you have to work on, because you can be mad. I feel like it's safe to say you can feel emotions. Couples, you can argue. It's healthy to argue. You will argue. You will have disagreements.
If you don't argue, I believe that it's a problem.
Right. And arguing doesn't always have to be yelling and all that. People argue differently. But
not argue, disagree.
Right. You can, that's just a part of a relationship. You're two different people, you know? So I think, though, once you hit the angry stage, sometimes it's just like all of those things that you know you're working on go out the window. You revert back to what you're comfortable with. And a lot of it stems from your household that you grew up in. True. And that's something that and that's why I really love our relationship, because we reflect a lot on how we became who we are today. Yeah. And knowing that we can see through our parents, our siblings, we see different traits that are there and where we got it from. So it's like, okay, we have that understanding and we know there's certain things that we would like to change. But it's like when you get angry, boy, you're like, forget that. Yeah, it's kind of hard to stay. And it's not even a conscious thought, though. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's like, oh, bump growing, I'm mad. No, it's just, it's natural.
Yeah, it's natural, because even for me, what I believe is when you're angry, you're not able to even express yourself thoroughly.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because for me, that's what I've noticed. Because I'm still all right, so when I'm angry, I'm still logically on point with what I'm saying. I don't change. I don't really veer off with what I'm saying, whether I'm calm or upset. Mm-hmm. But I don't explain it the same, I don't believe.
And I don't receive it the same.
Correct.
So that's true. Because to be honest, I will say it's the same message, but I'm not going to receive it when you're yelling versus us. I'm not going to receive it the same way with you yelling at me versus us having a conversation about it.
Well, I'm not even saying yelling, just being upset and just angry.
Well, your anger is yelling.
Not all the time.
Honey, anger?
See, you always equate my anger with yelling. And I'm like, I don't...
No, I'm saying, because, okay, mad... You could be mad and have a conversation.
I could be like...
You trying to back up because you know you about to be loud.
I can't fake it. I don't know how to just do it. But
no,
that's what I'm saying. You can't even do it. And you do all the animations.
No, but he talks with his hands.
Yes, I do. We both talk about hands. And I guess that's part of it too. And I was gonna say is when I am upset and I'm using my hands and everything like that, it's kind of like putting an exclamation point or writing a text in all caps. Yeah. So it just kind of
amplifies.
It amplifies it, and it kind of jades it, a little bit. I think of it with music. Music is like a flow of things, so it's kind of like a language and dialect. If I said a certain word off beat or like too hard or something like that, you kind of look at me like, you know what? It's not right. Yeah, it's just not right. So, yeah, I have noticed that when I'm a little bit more calm, I can explain things better, and and I'm doing it now. And this is the crazy thing. I'm doing it right now, using my hands.
Yeah, that's just naturally how he talks.
It's just what I do.
Yeah.
But when I'm upset and my facial expression changes,
guys, veins be bulging, abs be sweating. Like, well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like when you're mad, that's like a level under anger. So when you're mad, yeah, you can still talk. You can still like use your hands and stuff, but you're not yelling.
Okay,
I feel like when you bump up to anger,
if I'm actually angry,
that's what I'm saying. Like when you get angry,
irate,
then yes,
okay,
then that's the different level. And when you're at that level, I'm not gonna receive it the same as us just having a conversation. So then that's like when we argue, then we take a break, or like he'll calm down or something. Even sometimes during that anger, you bring yourself back down to mad. And then we can kind of talk through it.
Yeah.
So but it's partly sorry, go ahead.
No, but sometimes when I'm angry, I'm not even, I guess I can imagine, I guess I don't even care. I don't even care what you're saying at that point.
Right. Which isn't healthy. For communication wise.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Nope. It's not.
Nah, it's not. But by then I didn't feel like I done repeated myself so many times.
Right, and then that goes back to the feeling unheard, not understood, and then that's where it's like it's just a cycle that repeats itself. So pretty sometimes much. It's like if I become defensive and then I'm not being receptive to what he's saying, so then he's trying to explain it again, or if I just don't even understand what he's saying because our logic is a little bit different, then it's like he gets frustrated.
Yeah,
really do. Or vice versa, and it's like either one of us can get frustrated, and then it turns into a whole big thing if we just practice our communication a little bit better, it wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. So I mean, a big element of this whole thing and what you just said, as far as not being heard, is listening, using your ears.
Yes.
I mean, we kind of talked about it, but you really gotta listen sometimes. Sometimes, I make facial expressions, when I'm listening to stuff. You do too.
I do. I'm
worse.
Guilty. Yeah. Yes.
Because you do it in public. You do it anywhere. Right. She just, it's everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. But you have to listen, because regardless of the fact whether it make you feel a type of way, or not, if you listen sometime, you could kind of pick up a lot,
Go ahead. One of the biggest things that kind of helped me become less defensive is understanding that we are a team.
Yeah.
Always.
That's huge.
Like, we are always a team. Even when we disagree, we are still a team. And our goal as a team is to resolve this issue so we can be back on the same page.
Yeah.
Like, our goal is always to be back unified.
Yeah.
So that's something that I had to constantly, like, do affirmations with and tell myself, like, we are a team. We are equal partners in our relationship. Like, these are things that it's like my feelings don't matter more than his. His feelings don't matter more than mine. Like, we have to be on the same page. And so when he'll bring me something now, when I remember, no, I've been really good at it. But when he brings me something, it's like, I know we're a team, and my intent is never to hurt him. So let me hear out what he's saying so that I can understand where he's coming from. And then maybe it's something that was a miscommunication. I can just let him know, oh, sorry, honey, that, that's not what I meant. Or it's something that I didn't even realize that I was doing. Because, I do have my tendencies where the world does revolve around me.
Same. And for me, I mean, because probably through this conversation, I probably said more about myself and my communication downfalls and things that I've worked on. That I don't think I verbalized this to you, all of it, like everything I've said today.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, with like the passion and all that stuff.
Just maybe.
I think we've had.
I think we just having it in a more conversation form. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a deeper conversation now than what we've had with it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But what was I saying? I don't forget what the heck. That's what
listening
happens.
Though. But so.
Oh, and being on the same team. Mm-hmm. Basically, I was saying though, but a lot of times sometimes you gotta step back and reevaluate yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
facts.
Just kind of see where you at, you know?
Right, because you're not perfect. And I think that was a hard thing too. With listening is like I said, that we had to remember that we're on the same team is because he never wants to harm me. His goal is never to just attack me. He wants to see me be better and do better. Yeah. So, but for me, I'm like, I'm the type of person who I don't like to hear negative things about myself. And I don't think anyone really likes to hear negative things about themselves. But it's like, I feel like I have such good intentions and I'm very helpful. I'm loving. I do so much great. So it's like, what the heck are you complaining about? Like, that's how, and so it's like, so I'm doing all these things and then you're trying to find fault in me?
Yeah. And
Charmaine?
And then the problem is like, after she's hurt, it's like, it's hard for me to say sorry and everything after that and then try to keep the conversation going. Because with you, I already had to give you a disclaimer before I said what I was saying. So it's kind of like now, once I start apologizing, I feel like I'm begging.
Baby, please.
Yeah. I feel like I'm begging and stuff like that.
No, and but I've gotten better.
No, you have.
Thank you.
I'll give you that.
So, but I used to be like that, to where it was like, he would tell me, he's like, I don't know how to bring certain things to you because you get so offended, and then you go into this defense mode and it's like, he's like, I'm not trying to say anything wrong. I'm just trying to tell you how it's making me feel. Yeah. And then it's like, it took me a little while because it's like, I think that's why it goes back to how you were brought up. Like, no, I'm true. Like the peacemaker of the house. I bring people together. I'm the princess. So it's kind of like Charmaine does no wrong.
Yeah, and see, and that's, I think, like, in my mind, right? In a perfect world, I would be a little bit more sensitive. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. But based on how I was raised,
you had to be tough.
It's no apologizing. It is what it is.
Yeah, like within his household, and we'll get back to the listening thing because we kind of went on tangent, which is okay.
We need to make good stuff. We're gonna make something about our upbringing.
Yeah, that'll be a good one actually. Yeah, because seriously, because your household truly shapes how you behave.
Yes, it
and
does.
How you are, and not to say that like there's negatives and positives in your experience. Mm-hmm. Like there's positive things that you can learn from your family and that we have learned from our families, but then we also realize that there was negative traits. Mm-hmm. And we know that it's just a generational thing that they learned from their parents. So it's just kind of trying to break those cycles, break generational dysfunction, as I like to say.
And it's not a shot at our families at all.
Not at all.
You got to understand, when you got two negatives coming together, you get a piece of positive somewhere, but you get a piece of positive somewhere, but it's like World War V, like,
right. Yeah. We're bringing both of this baggage from our families and bringing it together, trying to mesh them as one.
Yeah. It's like the head of our households going head to head,
going to war.
Yeah. So it's like, it's just not good.
Right. Yeah. But I'm grateful that we both are the type of people who always want to better ourselves and better our relationships as well.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's something that, you know, it was hard. It was still like, it wasn't easy getting to the point we are today. But it was like we put so much work in to be better because we knew like, okay, this isn't right. This isn't healthy. This isn't the best way to communicate with each other. We want to communicate better. How do we do that?
Yeah. Gotta be open.
You do have to be open. And so I'll say, yeah, how do you communicate better? Since we're talking about communication, is you do have to be open. You have to be willing to be vulnerable with your partner and express yourself and let them know, like, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
You want to try to avoid pointing the finger.
Yes.
Do not point the finger. Like, you can say, this is how this made me feel, but don't say you did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
In that manner.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
But
because
you gotta
that's what you feel. You feel like, yo, you did that. Like, what the heck? But it's like you don't. But because when you do that, that's when the other person is going to be defensive.
Yeah, because, man, I tell you. Because it's like it's perspective.
It's definitely perspective.
Because it's like what she said. She'll remember something one way, and then I'll remember something another way. And it's like, I'm bringing this to you. And you trying to tell me that my perspective is off?
Indeed it is. Seriously.
Like, I didn't watch it happen this way. That's why I'm bringing it to you. And you trying to tell me it didn't happen this way?
Yes. So that is huge too. Is just being and not focusing on all the minute details because they're really not important. Is it really important how he perceived it or how is it important how I perceived it if he's telling me this is what he perceived and it bothered him?
Yeah.
It's not really important how I perceived it, but it's important for me to acknowledge how he feels and then say, okay, I apologize. That's not how I meant it. This is what I thought.
Especially if the result was still the same.
Exactly.
If you know the ending in the beginning was still the same.
The middle details doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, and then pick your battles also. Like, someone leaving their underwear on the floor, is that really worth you having a whole argument with them and being upset about? That's like a 2-second fix.
Yeah. And mean, the truth is this. I mean, if you was to turn to the wall, you don't know what I did within that second. You understand what I'm saying? For real. So it could be something that went on within the situation.
Where you just happen to forget them or something?
Yeah, you might have done something to me that you're doing something and you're not thinking about me in a situation and it bothered me or whatever. You could have been looking that way, did something and kicked me, tripped me or something, whatever. Gotcha. You get what I'm saying?
And not even noticed or something, and then you all mad.
Yeah. And I'm telling you that this happened like this.
And you intentionally tripped me.
This whole time she like, nah, I never tripped you. We were sitting there talking. I turned around. I walked away. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But I'm telling her that, but you tripped me. Like, I'm telling you, you tripped me.
Right.
Like,
so it's like, really? Like, do you really think your partner has ill intent towards you just to intentionally trip you? Yeah. So it's like, kind of try to focus on the positives. Remember that you guys are a team.
Pretty much.
Like, especially if you're building towards marriage, like, you are on the same page. And you also want to make sure you work on communication before you have children.
Yeah.
Because that's something that we think about all the time, is we don't want to have, ineffective communication when we have kids.
Yeah, I want my kids to be able to communicate with me,
Yeah, feel comfortable coming to us, telling us stuff that typical kids may not tell their parents because they just they feel like they may be judged or get in trouble. It's like, we're still going to be responsible parents and you still will have consequences to certain actions, but I want you to feel comfortable coming to me so we can talk about it and you can know that if anything happens, we're always here for you.
Yeah, even if it's not a comfortable sense. I feel like some people don't equip their kids with the right experiences and the right vocabulary and things like that to express themselves.
Yeah, that too.
They leave them on this kid level to where they don't give them space to do so.
Right.
They want them to, they belittle them.
Yeah.
If you give them the tools to be able to express themselves, they will.
Yeah, that's true. And that's another podcast too. Because how to raise your child, or how do we plan on raising our child, and you know, the different things that we think about, because we know that when you have a child, your whole mindset can change.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go off our perspective of now. But when we have a child, we'll see what happens.
No, and I think that's the point too. We're gonna make one now to just kind of have
so we can watch back with the kids. They be like, my dad, y'all ain't doing that.
Yeah, I believe we said it before. This is like our vision board. Y'all get to see everything. You know, y'all got to check in on our mindset.
Right.
You know, what we plan on having our future to be. You know?
And just education, helping, you know, us grow, learning things that, you know, teaching you guys things that we've kind of learned throughout our relationships to help you guys grow, and then listening to your feedback so that we can grow too. Back to listening though, because that was our ending thing, right?
That was, I mean,
we kind of ended off.
But yeah, we kind of covered a lot of it. I mean,
it's just making sure that you do listen, that you're open to what your partner has to say, and then also try to summarize what they said to make sure you're on the same page. I'll say that's the best thing for like active listening and making sure you stay on the same page.
Yeah. And just realize y'all on the same team.
Yes.
Nobody's trying to hurt you.
Like he like sound like broken record, like nobody's trying to hurt you.
Nah, but for real, that's the main. I feel like that's the main part
thing,
because that's the beginning. That's the beginning when someone brings something. You know. Yeah. You know, when someone brings something to you, you know, you gotta just be ready to just.
Yeah, and in the book that we, the 7 Principles to a Successful Marriage, they talk about that. Like, when you bring something to somebody, let it be a soft start. Like, if you just come at them yelling and arguing, like, you know, of course they're going to go in defense. That's natural. But if you come at them and say, even if you start, like, by saying, you know, this is kind of uncomfortable, or, you know, I don't really know how to bring this to you, but it kind of prepares them to be more like, okay, let me see what's going on.
Yeah. No name calling.
No name calling.
You know.
Please, that's really unhealthy.
Yeah, because, I mean, people get defensive with name calling.
Because you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, people get defensive. No, because you shouldn't do it. That means, you know who's name calling.
I don't name call like that, do I?
Yes, you do. Well, not so much anymore.
Anymore?
Yeah.
Anyway, I wasn't even thinking about myself. I was just,
thought he had a guilty conscience. But you don't name call in the typical sense.
Nah. All I'm saying is don't name call, because I hear a lot of people, you know, name call when they get upset and things like that.
And that's not good.
Yeah. Even if you think you're being calm and having a mature conversation and throwing the name calling in there.
But it also doesn't even make sense, because like for example, let's say we're arguing and I'm like, you're a liar. It's like, would I really be dating?
That's a shot at me. Because I call her a liar sometimes. And she don't like that. Yeah,
because I'm like, no, I'm not lying. Like, this is what I really thought happened. So just because it's off does not mean I'm lying. And it's like, when you place a label on somebody to say you're a liar, it's like, you wouldn't be dating a liar. So you can say, oh, in this situation you lied, even though I didn't lie. But you can say that to your partner, like, in this situation you lied or something, but do not just do a blanket label over somebody either.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's
because she don't like that. And another thing that's not good is
what?
They said this counseling, and you don't like it anyway. It don't bother me, but saying you always.
Oh yeah, do not. You always, you never. Do not use those final. Don't use those terminologies, because no, I do not always do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he'll try to be smart. A lot of the times you. But yeah, don't. Those are just things, like, those are just tips I feel like that can really help change and strengthen your communication with really anybody. And also, just
laugh.
Yeah, like, and have those things where it's like certain times, like, we know, like, we could be arguing or something, and then we'll just look at each other and we'll start laughing.
Because sometimes it's like,
you know, you get on my nerves. Like,
yeah. And you know,
Huh?
I don't know if I should say that.
What?
You know why you acting up?
No.
You know, to a certain extent.
No.
So
he knows why he be acting up. Oh,
so anyway,
boy, you're ridiculous.
I'm just saying. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, after the aftermath, you know.
Oh, he is feeling himself.
If you know, you know. But anyway,
yeah, I think that was a really good episode. Yeah.
Man, that opened up a lot.
Yeah, we talked about more than actually I expected us to talk about.
Yeah, and it was
good. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let us know, do you have issues in your relationship where you struggle with communication with your partner?
Yeah.
Write those down in the comments. And if you have any power trips of the week, because that I think also is like the root cause of probably all power trips is communication.
Pretty much. So, and to reword it, if you have any situations that you think the communication could have been better.
Or you didn't listen well or anything.
Or you don't understand.
Right.
You don't even understand. Something's going on. You're trying to communicate with someone and you don't understand what's going on and you need some advice. You want someone else's perspective. Put it in the comments or email us if you want it to be anonymous at the PowerTrip Podcast at gmail.com. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the PowerTrip Podcast. And make sure you subscribe, comment, like everything. Yes, share this with your friends.
Please.
Sure, and write us a message if you anything. Let us
know
that
just
you
let us know what's
out there.
up.
Yeah.
Say hey.
We know y'all listening, so
yes.
Just tune in with us next time.
All right. Love you guys. Peace.
Deuces.